I would like to call to order the East Long Meadow Public Library Board of Library Trustees. This is June 8th, and it's about 6 o'clock.
18th.
June 18th, what did I say?
8th.
18th. And this was the call to order. And the first thing we need to look at are the minutes of March 19th and May 14th.
Should we take attendance too?
Yes, we should. Would you like to speak to the screen?
Charlie Gray.
Virginia Robbins.
Diane Tiago.
Susan Peterson, Library Director.
Art McGuire.
And guests, do we have any guests?
And we have a guest. And the guest is Ben Lambert from the Republican. He can be seen on television in time. March 19th minutes.
Okay, did everybody get those?
Circulated.
I forwarded them to folks, and Ginny, you have one.
I did get it, yes.
Okay. They were the ones that I went back and I watched the meeting on LCAT, so it would refresh my memory as to what took place. So our secretary at the time, she's no longer on the board, so I wasn't able to get those minutes from her, so here they are, 3 months after the fact.
Okay. I read them over and before coming.
I read them over and I thought they were rather complete. Good job. I had nothing, no additions, corrections, or deletions. So I would make a motion that the minutes from the Board of Library Trustees meeting of March 19th, 2014 be approved as submitted.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Voting? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They're in place. And the other minutes, I think I downloaded them.
May 14th?
Just a minute. Director's report.
They're
must
in
be
the
in-
red thing, too.
Yeah, they must not have downloaded.
Did you get those, Diane? I remember you wrote to me
Yes,
saying.
yes,
Okay.
I did.
Here it is, May 14th. We all have the May 14th minutes.
Yes. I move we approve the minutes of the East Long Meadow Library Board of Library Trustees for the meeting of May 14th, 2014, as submitted.
Second.
Discussion? I will ask whether the visit to Mr. Smith has had any reverberations at all.
Not since the last correspondence I got from the librarian there at the high school. We kind of tabled it till
Tabled it.
a couple of weeks before school started in September, so I haven't heard anything else.
Okay. All in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, they are approved. Proceeding on with the guest's opportunity to address the board. Well, you're a guest, and I think you're part of the,
You want to say anything, or no?
I have to be here, but I shall do it then.
Okay.
Welcome.
As an observer, I guess, reporter.
director's report.
Okay, everybody get that? I think I sent that out a couple of days ago.
Mhm.
Do you have it, Charlie?
I do, I have it right here.
Any
Have
Any
you had any
questions?
response to the?
from the ad?
Yes.
Yes. In fact, now we're calling people to set up interviews. And
Good.
next week, I have 2 interviews set up already. A couple people in the interim said they had found other employment, so that's unfortunate for us. But, you know, I had overall, I think, maybe 20 applications. Most all of them have an MLS, you know, so, or they're
Wonderful.
finishing it up with experience. So, yeah,
Looks good.
I was pleased with, and people not only from this area, but from outside New England too, you know, applied.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, because, you know, anybody who's looking for a librarian job, you know, in Massachusetts, especially public libraries, they know to check out, you know, a certain website the state puts out.
Yep.
So if you're looking for whatever reason, you know, if you're just picking out a few states that you think you might, in a way you might like to work, you know, you check out that site. So if the job looks enticing, people apply. You know, so it's run the gamut. So I hope we've picked out some good applicants to interview. So we'll start
Sounds
next
good.
week. If we're lucky enough to find somebody that we really like next week, then hopefully this will move forward, you know, faster. Sharon Bellanoy, who was, you know, recently
Right.
promoted to be our assistant director, after next week, she's on vacation the following week, and she won't be back until, you know, right after the 4th of July. So if we don't finish up next week, we'll have to continue, because it's obviously important that she attends, you know, and participates in the interviews. So, you know, we could have somebody in place as early as, so, you know, 3 weeks, or, you know, depending on if it's somebody who's working someplace else and they need to give notice, you know, it
Move or
could take a
something.
month, you know, I mean, it's hard to say, but
That's good, though.
we're not wasting any time, let's put it that way.
It doesn't
You know,
sound like it.
It's a busy time of year, and obviously, you know, it's a public service position, and we want to get it filled as best we can, as quickly as we can.
That's great. I think that's a terrific hire, and I'm pleased that you mentioned it in your staffing update. And I know it was a promotion from within, and that's always, in my view, a good thing. And I also am pleased that she's going to come and talk to us in July.
Yeah, she said, no problem.
So
Yeah.
that'll be something we can
Yeah.
look forward to.
Yeah, she's very happy, and she's very eager to start her
I
new
think that-
duties.
I think
And
she's,
she and I work very well together, so, you know, I think it'll be a,
I think
Good
you
transition.
made a wonderful selection, and I know she's going to do a wonderful job. The other item that I was going to comment on was the DPW, the East Long Meadow Department of Public Works and their assistants, and they do a terrific job for us, where they have been working in and around the library, and I would just say to you, through you to them, I guess, that they did a great job.
Really?
You gotta be
I know
happy.
it. No, I am. I am. You know, the painting that we had done, and
Yeah.
anytime I put in a work order, and this is just, you know, kudos to the DPW, you know,
That's-
it doesn't take long
That's
at
for
all.
sure.
I mean, they're right on it, and everything is prioritized, and, you know, things that, it gives you the option, if it's something that's not urgent, you know, you can say that it's not urgent, and, you know, it gets done. But if something is immediate, you know, they're on it, they're right over here.
And the power washing that
helpful.
they did on the outside of the building, everything looks spiffy.
Yeah, I think that's done
Is that a legit word?
once a year.
It's an old word.
It's an old word, that's right.
Gets the pollen off, and, well, you can imagine in the course of
Oh,
a
yeah,
year,
sure.
just acid rain or whatever, you know, when it falls on the building, has to get washed off. Other than that, you know, we've just been very busy with programming and children's things coming along. We had our final training for the volunteers for our summer reading program just a couple hours ago.
How
We
many
have,
volunteers
I don't know,
did you have?
dozens.
Because I know they had around
Yeah.
100 or something
Yeah,
last
it's
year.
probably the same amount. And that actually, the sign-ups for that actually started this week. And I asked, I said, so how many so far? Now, this has been 3 days. Over 200 kids
Oh,
have
my
signed up
goodness.
already
That's wonderful.
for summer reading. And last year, I'm just kind of filling in, Ben was sitting over there. Last year, we had over 1,300 kids participate. So it's one of the most, you know, well-attended programs in the whole state, you know, as far as cities and towns. And
Did you tell me it was the fourth largest?
no, I think it's like maybe the 10th or 11th
10th.
largest of all. Now, there are 351 towns in cities in Massachusetts, so that's saying a lot when you're competing with big cities, you know, even medium-sized, you know, towns and cities and in the eastern part of the state, you know. So that's well, it's great, you know.
Well, in that vein, I would comment favorably that my granddaughter and grandson went to the story time at Redstone Creamery.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it was wonderful. They had a
Good, good.
a great time, and the ice cream
Yeah.
was
I think it was a
terrific.
nice day, too.
The ice cream
I
was
think-
terrific too. So
Well, that's good. That's
we're
good.
off and running, as they say.
And other things that we had our, for the time being, for the summer, we had our last movie matinee for adults on Saturday, May 17th. And again, you know, we had more than 20 people there to watch Saving Mr. Banks. That was good, and we'll start that up again in September, when we're open again on Saturdays. And our adult book discussion group met on June 3rd. And that will start up again once we have the new librarian on board, and that, you know, they will take over leading that book discussion group. So probably during August or September. And we have a teen book discussion group that's been popular, and they're meeting again next week on June 26th. And, you know, so that has been a good experience for the teens. And, well, just other things. On Tuesday, next Tuesday, June 24th, we're doing a program called Gardening is Murder. And local gentleman Neil Sanders is presenting this program, and it's his unique take on gardening from a husband's perspective. So if anybody out there is interested in attending, it's on Tuesday night. I think it's at 6:30. And you just call the library at extension 1511, and we can sign you up for that. We have a few people.
He had been scheduled before. didn't he?
Yes. This new time period works out better for that.
It sounds very interesting.
I also see that you commented on the, what I guess is the annual Friends of the Library summer paperback
Right.
book sale.
That started this week
It
too.
started this week, and as I walked in through the lobby a few moments ago, I noticed that there seemed to be more books than ever available, so, and a nice selection.
And in
And-
just 3 days, I think the staff said we've sold 250 books.
250 books in
Right.
3 days?
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong business. Well, that's wonderful, and it's a wonderful selection, I know that. That's
Well-
great.
Well, thanks to the community who donates them. You know, they're not books that we purchase, they're books that have been donated, that are in good
They're
condition to
in great shape.
go
Most
around
of
again.
them, I would say, were bordering on being new.
Right. Gently read.
Gently used, huh? Like me. Good.
So,
Well, that's good. And how long does that'll last for a
oh,
while?
a while.
Goes
you know,
pretty much the
pretty
whole-
much for the
The whole summer? Yeah. That's
Are
good.
they taking new
Yeah.
donations?
Sure.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, keep them
Keep
coming.
Keep those
Yeah.
cars and letters.
Just don't
coming.
dump them outside at the door over the weekend. You know, we
I would bring
we would
them in.
prefer that you
Dump them
bring them
someplace
in.
else.
No,
Nice.
bring them inside here when we're open. That
That'll
would
be great.
much appreciated. Okay. So anyways, that's my report for this month.
That's good.
Shall we go directly to the financial report and then give the vote to accept?
Sounds good to me.
I know that's in here somewhere. It should look like
Yeah,
these guys. Did you get, it should be in your, that's that.
Yeah.
Yours isn't in color, mine is.
No. But the important parts are highlighted.
So this is the first month of the fiscal year for us, is that correct, Susan?
No, this was, we're in the last month
Last month?
of the fiscal year that we're, been going
Oh,
through.
these are the results for the last month? Or,
Right, since the last time, this reflects any changes since our last meeting. That's been run.
It is.
And I've been told that the accounts, the accounts
Hey,
where we
welcome.
would deposit money into, like the copier fund or fines or things like that, things have been posted as of May 31st. So there are a few, amounts that have been deposited since May 31st that aren't, reflected in this, like, an extra $336 in the copier fund, or an extra $450 in fines, extra $140 in the trustees funds. But other than that, things are pretty much up to date. And I would like to point out that this year, we have completely spent all our materials, money, and then some.
I made it just in time for that.
You did. You did. yeah.
Fantastic job.
I paid pretty close attention. I got everybody to, spend down their respective, amounts of money. So we did spend it all.
Awesome.
Wasn't too difficult this year to spend all that. And next week, the town, they'll be closing the books, so I kind of give projections as to, the next year, with the amounts, the budget that was just passed at town meeting. The appropriated accounts for salaries and operating, as I've been pointing out the last few months, the final amounts for our budget in salaries, that's not really reflected in here because Munis isn't showing any extra monies for retroactive salaries or for the increase in salaries that took place after November when the current contract was signed. So it is a little difficult for me to judge exactly how much money we have in here, but I'm not worried about it. I mean, what can I do? I know how much has been spent, and I know that the money will be there to cover that. But the important thing is that we spent the money for materials that the town gives us, so.
Okay. I'd like to welcome Ron McCucci, who came in a few days.
Yes, thank you. Ron
Moments late.
McCucci.
And behind
Sorry
you,
I'm late.
we have a guest from Ben Lambert from the Springfield Republican.
Welcome.
Good observer.
Any other questions?
Are there questions or comments on the financial side or the narrative written report? If not, I welcome a motion to approve. Unless somebody needs more time looking at it.
One motion, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the director's report dated June 18th, 2014, as submitted, and the financial report, which is an extract of the town's munis system that was submitted, was prepared, the extract was prepared on June 18th of 2014.
Second.
Comments? Further comments? Ron, do you need time?
No, I read it before. I'm just going through it really quick just to see if there was anything. I'm good. Thanks. I'm good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The director's report is accepted. Director's recommendation and/or information, starting with correspondence.
Okay, I have one note. This is a note from the recipient of this year's Library Trustees Book Award, who was Lauren Porth, a junior at the high school. She sent a little note. Would you care to read it? It's addressed to the Board of Trustees.
Dear East Long Meadow Public Library trustees, thank you for the honor of being selected for this year's book award. It was quite a surprise. The library holds a special place in my heart, along with my love of reading and volunteering. Thank you for acknowledging my efforts. Your generosity is greatly appreciated. Sincerely, Lauren Porth.
Very nice.
Very nice.
And we thought
That's a,
that Charlie Gray did a nice job of presentation too. But
thank you.
this is a welcome note.
That's very nice. She's a classy young lady, and she certainly loves the library. And I know Susan has told us in the past that she spent a lot of time volunteering, and it's a good thing that we were able to give recognition to her.
Okay. Other correspondence that you have, I printed out the finalized library behavior policy that was approved at last month's meeting. It's a one-page policy.
Is it in there?
It should be in there. And also, there's a June calendar events for the Children's Department, a current listing of the Friends of the East Long Meadow Public Library Board of Directors, a calendar of the East Long Meadow Rotary's Wednesday night concerts that begin next Wednesday.
Somebody asked me if you had one out.
We have them posted on our boards, and then we also have some at the front desk. Yeah.
That's what you wanted, so thank you.
But I thought you folks might like to have one. And a circulation trends chart, and let's see, what else? What else I can remember here? And another policy, we're finally getting down to the final three policies. On the right-hand side of your packet is a policy that went into effect here, in 2004. It's the USA Patriot Act of 2001 policy, so we can go over that later in the meeting. And I think that's it for correspondence.
Okay.
No other letters, just this letter from Lauren.
And legislative news,
I don't have anything to report
okay.
as far as that goes. Anybody have any questions about any of that?
I'm looking for the Patriot Act. I thought I saw it here. I just couldn't.
Yeah, it was
It should have been on this side, no? I know I included a copy because I didn't send it out as an attachment.
it
So
was in
I,
that packet.
yeah,
It's here someplace. I don't know whether we need to do anything except,
well, it's on the agenda for later on, and, you know, I mean, you can just read it over, but it is on the agenda under other business.
for tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
At our last meeting, I said that I would,
Well, that's right here. It's old business, right? Library policies.
yeah, so we can, you know, we can
Let me just search
look it
it out
over
here.
then.
That's just a question, and it's more a sequential question than anything else. Susan, would you be comfortable with us, since we have spent some time previously discussing the library behavior policy? Is this I assume is the final?
Right.
So does this need a vote, or did
No,
we vote
you
last
voted.
time? So this is simply the...
I'm just giving it to you just for your files.
The final one we voted on with the final changes in the
Right,
wording
right.
is this.
Right.
So that's off of our to-do list.
Right,
And now we're moving on.
Right.
Thank you very much. Okay.
find it. You can have mine. if you
Well,
want.
mine.
I have
It's in there somewhere.
just a simple question.
Yeah.
So is this on our website now, the behavior policy? Is that on?
If it isn't, it'll be on there tomorrow.
Okay,
How's that?
that sounds good. I just wanted to.
The old one is probably still on there, but,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the new one
Oh,
should
I
be.
don't have it.
Yeah, so I
Thought I
just
saw it.
wanted to
It's
ask,
probably,
because
Here it is. Oh,
it's mine,
that's it.
yeah.
I know
Okay.
people don't think
Thought- I actually
people,
thought I saw you
read
flip
the
through it.
policies,
Yeah, that's what I
but
thought I saw
got
too,
a
but-
story to tell.
Like, it's not like that.
Good.
It'll be the last place you look, I guarantee it.
Yeah. Anyway, it
Anyway.
is under new business, this next library staffing update. I think
Right.
you gave us that already.
I did.
Or is there
I
more?
basically covered it when I was going over my director's report. I don't think there's anything else.
Okay, the Patriot Act.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
I
It's
read through
library
this.
policies for review, yeah.
This was, Diane, you were probably involved in this way back when. This policy was created before me, before I came here. If you look at the date on this, it says August 2004, which is, I like to see BS before Susan was here. So I can't take credit for this one. And then it was revised, and I'm sorry, I can't tell you exactly how it was revised 7 years ago, probably a minor revision. And then along with all the other policies we've been going through, since it's been 7 years, I just thought that, you know, this policy probably might be new to all or some of you. And it's always good to look at all the board-approved policies, you know, every now and then. I looked this over, I double-checked just to make sure that none of the numbers of the house laws or the public laws had changed, you know, and everything is the same. The name of it, you know, everything is the same. I couldn't really find anything to change in this. But, you know, in keeping with our policy of just, you know, looking it over, you know, have a first read, and then next time come back and, you know, if there are any questions, we can address them then.
Could I give a quick scan?
Oh, sure.
Loan my copy to Art.
You know, it just reiterates how we agree to be in compliance with the federal law
You
concerning.
know, when you handed out the first packet that had all 14 policies or 11 policies, I remember reading this over. I, too, didn't have any overwhelming reaction to it.
Guess what turned up?
You're the best. I remember as I read this over that the restatement of the tenets of the Patriot Act was pretty good, but we're going to comply with all valid law enforcement requests for information, consistent with the process as established in Massachusetts general laws, and consistent with the issuance of subpoenas or warrants issued by the
Right.
court. And we also have the ability to, if we have any question, to bring in the legal counsel, our legal
Right,
counsel.
right, yeah,
And I
that's how it works.
like that fail-safe, so I didn't have any real problem. I don't have my original notes with me tonight, but I didn't have any real problem when I read it over. So those would be my comments.
Okay,
Has this library been served with a subpoena or warrant issued by a court?
not that I know of, no. Not
Not to
since
my
I've been
knowledge
here.
either.
Oh.
No. And I would know about it. so.
But without having experience at this, and without having Chapter 66, Section 10 in front of us, it's hard to say sensible things. I'm sure it's easily politicized, and has been in the past. And I think what we need to do is look it over, and if we learn something new, on a future meeting, we can either approve or change it.
Now, if you'd like me to bring you a copy of, you know, the mass general laws are all online anyways, but I'd be
Yeah,
happy
no,
to
we can
print
proceed.
out
Okay.
that and, you know, to remind you what that refers
You
to.
bring that for next time, Susan?
Sure, yeah.
Or put it in the email and let us look at it in
I can
advance.
send you a link to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's all out on mass.gov. You just search for the general laws and you just plug in, it'll give you a little thing, chapter such and such, section, you just plug it in there, it brings it right up.
Good.
And so there are 2 more policies left for us to do. And considering we spent a year going through all of these, that's pretty good. The ones that are left are our internet use policy, because we do provide internet access, you know, to our patrons, and our library selection policy, or call it our collection development policy. Those are the last 2. And you will have plowed through all of them. So
Good idea.
I can provide you with those 2 for the next time, or one of them, or, you know.
Those
Whatever.
we probably can knock out at once, right? Those, this
No, they're
last
a
one
little-
especially, right?
The selection policy, the actual current one that was last approved by the board is old.
Oh,
It's like
What is-
old, you know,
yeah.
video cassettes and goodness
Oh.
knows, probably film strips old. It's old. So
Yeah.
there, you know, I've been working on a brand new one, and you know, I just have it on my computer and I can just, you know, send that out. The internet use one we've had for a while, obviously, you know, because we've been providing internet access, so I have to look that over, ask the staff, you know, for comments and what their suggestions would be for making revisions to it. And then I'd feel comfortable bringing it to you folks to, you know, look over.
We'll follow your lead, as always, Susan.
We'll be glad to throw our 2 cents worth in.
Mhm. So that's good. So we'll look at this Patriot Act policy again the next time, okay? And then that should be that for that one, I guess.
All right. Regrade of library positions, update.
Oh, can we save that to the end? I had a couple of other things that I
Oh, by all
wanted
means.
to bring up.
Yes.
One is a voucher for, a travel voucher for me that's for $15.54 to a meeting that I went to in Conway a couple weeks ago.
Cancun again?
I want one of those tickets for that price.
And I included, in Diane's packet, I included, because Charlie reminded me about this, is the Massachusetts Conflict of Interest guidelines.
Yep.
So, you know, I'm required to provide you with a summary of the law, and then the last page is just, you know, it's an acknowledgement thing. You might have had to do this in your other job. But anyways, if you could just sign that and date it and get that back to me. And then, do you know that online there's a, you know, the website for the Ethics Commission where you go in there and from under municipal employees, and you, which also includes elected officials, and you
Sure.
go in and take that little test, and
Yes.
and you're left with a nice certificate.
I'm going to add my 2 cents. Prompted by Charlie's email, I went out and realized I had not completed the conflict of interest law, and I did so promptly. It only took 3 days. And I'd like to show it around, and we're obliged, each of us, to do it every 2 years.
Every 2 years, and also newly, you know, newly
Newly
elected
within-
officials or newly
Within
hired
30
employees.
days.
So Charlie reminded me, I thought of it, like right off the bat I did, you know, back
Right.
in April,
Well,
and then
good.
it promptly, you know, left my mind, but better late than never, right, Arthur?
Well,
I will bow to that thought.
So, and I have one for David too, but he's not here tonight, so I'll have to remind him about that.
Yeah.
One other thing about board.
you
time-
keep the file for the board.
Yes.
As always.
Yes.
Thank you.
And of course, it's up to you folks. You know, the burden is on you to go online and take the test and, you know, do all that. You know, I can only remind you to do it, but I'm not going to
You're-
beat you
you're
over
good
the
at
head
that.
with a sledgehammer.
You're good at that.
All right?
I keep
Okay.
track of it for where I work.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Well,
for all
you
the-
should
for
just
all
shut
the
me up.
employee-
You should
for all
just
the
say,
employees
just say
there,
be
so-
quiet.
No. It is always good, no.
Okay. And I just had a question about our next scheduled meeting date for the trustees, you know, since we're getting through the meeting. It's scheduled for July 16th, and I know you said that you couldn't make that
I'm
meeting.
obliged to be away.
Yeah. So, you know, if you still want to keep that meeting date without Arthur being here, that's fine. If
We
you want to,
have a choice. We can
postpone
either
it.
have it without me, or reschedule, or skip the meeting entirely, because we don't have a lot on our plate.
So,
Could we, there are a couple not here tonight, could we maybe do a poll and see if there's anyone else maybe who can make that date? Any other people? I can make that date myself, but if
Okay.
the other two, it's hard for them. This is vacation time and
well, it's
many-
just, it's David. We have 5 here. so
Oh, there's another, oh, no, I'm sorry,
So-
Ron, you came in, I apologize. Well, or poll for an alternative date. Is there another date in July that might work for all of us?
I can't do the 23rd because I'll be on vacation that week. So that means it would have to be the 30th, the following Wednesday. I'm good with that. I just can't do the week after the 16th.
I know you asked for input on the tentative schedule that you developed at the last meeting, and actually, the only date that I could not make is the August 20-something, 20th?
20th.
August 20th date. But did you have any response from any of the others, or?
No. So all those other dates okay with you folks, for at least for the next couple of months?
No, I'm having trouble with September as well.
Okay, that was the 17th. That doesn't work for you? No. Well, I mean, we could just move everything, you know, down.
We
to-
could make one meeting for the summer, if you'd like.
I would like that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that either, skipping to July, that would be fine
Yeah,
with
we
me.
just move the August one up a little bit.
Yeah.
We-
You have done that before.
Yeah.
There is precedent for
Yeah, we've been-
missing a meeting,
Yeah.
especially in July,
Yeah.
you know?
Especially when we're not,
Because that week
Mhm.
before
not
for me is
challenged.
kind of rough, and the week after is rough for you, Susan, so.
Right.
I don't know for the rest of us, but. I
So
would-
in other words, have a meeting like in the middle of August instead, or just,
Is that what you thought, move the August one up a bit?
yeah, like just so
All
that
right.
August 6th.
we spread
So the
the wealth through the
13th?
summer.
August
It's fine with
13th?
me.
August 13th. What about
And we do
August
have a
13th?
guest, Ms. Bellinoy said she wanted to come too.
Oh, in July, well then that would have to be in August. She'd be here August.
Okay,
I mean, if you really do decide not to meet in July and we meet in August, she would just be here
She'd
then.
just come in.
okay, fine.
Yeah.
So we're gonna change August to what date? I'm
The
sorry.
13th?
Okay,
Sounds good to me. I'm in.
I'm in too.
Okay, so I'll let David know about that
I'm
change.
in too,
So you can do the August 13th.
I'm sure.
Terrific. All right,
And in
That's
July,
good.
we're gonna just take out.
okay.
Good.
All right. Okay,
Nice.
okay. What's next? Okay. So you always put library programming on here. The regrade I'd like to save for the end, just because it's a little
All right, yeah, the library.
involved, and I have a couple of thoughts on that.
I do that just to hear and be sure that we don't fall back on that. That was a weakness identified early. And I think we've conquered it, so we can probably start taking the library programming as a regular full business insertion out of there in the
Okay.
future.
And I know the last meeting, and I'm sorry I didn't put it on this agenda because by the time I sent it out, I had forgotten to put it on there, but there was a suggestion to put something about the Friends on the agenda every month.
Yep.
So,
That's up, you know,
We
if
can
you
talk
want to
about that now.
update about the Friends, I'd be happy to. They're on hiatus right now.
Understood fully.
When's your next meeting?
You had to ask me that.
Oh.
That's in my other binder.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's September 8th.
It is.
Okay, it's the, not
First-
the first because that's
That's a
Labor
holiday,
Day.
yeah.
But
So it's around
the
September 8th.
8th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Monday, following Labor Day.
And where do you guys meet?
Here,
Yep.
What,
right
this
here
one?
in this room.
All the friends?
Yeah, well, the board,
Oh, the board.
yeah.
So we'd be guests of the board if we came, is that what it would be?
You certainly would be. Let us know, let us know, let them know you're coming, as it is, we're a little cramped. Did receive, Susan provided the list of the officers and so
Yes.
forth, so you can see how many people are in this room all at once. It's kind of like this, little tight squeeze. But you're certainly always welcome to attend any of the Friends meetings. What I'll do is I'll get a hold of their calendar for the next year so you can see when they're planning to meet. Normally, or what has been happening in the past, it's always been the first Monday of the month. Unless there's something such as town meeting, then they'll move it a week.
At 6 o'clock,
It's usually 7-ish.
7-ish.
7.
And does not run past closing hour.
It does not. The president is Laura. She's very good about keeping us on track and moving right along. So waste no
In
time.
and out.
Won't waste no time and so forth. But basically, what they do is very similar to what the trustees do as far as getting information out using the computer and sending out information to the directors and to the officers and so forth during the month, so that when the meeting takes place, you're already kind of in the know of what's going to be on their agenda.
Good.
Well, it's great to have you as our friend liaison.
Well, I like being in both places, what can I say?
You're still on the Friends board? are you?
No,
No, you're not on
I'm
the
just
board,
a-
you just
I'm
go.
still a member,
Right.
like a general member,
Mhm.
and it was very difficult for me. When I get involved with anything, it seems like it's always 2 feet in, you know, it's all or nothing.
Really?
And what happens is, you know, I've been working with that group for quite a while. It's like when I left the trustee board, I ended up back on the Friends board, and so forth. So I thought the logical thing, because they thought it was a great idea, because they wanted the trustees in the know. And it kind of started as a volunteer who would like to go to the next trustee meeting and so forth. And then eventually it just kind of dwindled out. So I thought I could serve 2 purposes. And I
Which
thought,
is great.
yeah, and I thought it would help. Yeah, you know, I feel like I didn't leave them, so to
Right,
speak.
right. Well, if you can't attend one of their meetings, Sharon Bellanoy, our
Well, I was
assistant
gonna-
director,
yeah.
said that she would, you know, as a kind of a liaison
She-
from the staff, she is going to go to quite a few meetings. And,
Yes,
you know,
and
sometimes
she
in
has
place of
already,
me.
she's already in the past attended. It has been wonderful to hear her input from the staff
Right.
as well. And she's made suggestions to the Friends and different things, how we can go, you know, they could go about, you know, putting, she's very good with websites and, as you know, and so forth. So she's kind of helped
Marketing.
keep it up to date for the Friends and so.
Now, do you ever meet as a total group?
The end of the year, there's like a meeting. It's a general meeting. Every friend is welcome to attend, and it's in the newsletter that the upcoming meeting is going to be on such and such a date.
Right.
What would you
which
do
was-
if you had all 350 members? of
Well,
the Friends attend?
I think it would be a big surprise, to be honest with you, for all the years that I've been a part of it. We start off a little bit earlier in the evening with a little potluck
Yeah.
dinner, and then we go into the meeting. But for the most part, in all the years and all the newsletters that have gone out, it basically is the officers and the directors, and if they have spouses, significant others, anybody else who would like to join in as with us, they're certainly welcome to do so. So that's the extent of you know, other people getting more involved. I have to say this, just because an individual's presence isn't there, if the Friends put the word out that they need one thing or another, it seems that people come up to the plate, you know, behind the scenes,
Yeah, that's
you
good.
know, and so forth.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel the membership is, certainly we'd like it to grow, but I think when the Friends say, oh, you know, we're doing a book and bake sale, you know, can anybody do so many, you know, give an hour here or so forth. Everybody, it just seems like different people will come up in and participate, and I
Cool.
think that's good.
Good.
Okay.
Very nice.
All right. The next item on the agenda was brought up 2 months ago. I don't think it was in May. I think it was in April. I had a couple of supervisory staff members come to ask for their trustees to look over some of the positions here for possible regrades. So, you know, we listened to them, and in the interim, you know, I've had a lot of feedback from them, and I have a lot of information to give you folks. And, you know, quite frankly, there's a lot to digest, so that, you know, there's no real need or even the possibility of you going through, well, probably nearly 100 pages of documentation for all of these positions. But, you know, what I would suggest is, you know, since this involves union negotiations as far as, you know, salary increases and budgets, I would suggest that, you know, we go into executive session, you know, because it does fall under that. And then in that type of a meeting, we can decide how best to proceed with this, because I have a couple of ideas as to how to proceed with that. So, you know, it won't take very much of our time tonight, because I want to hand out
But
this
you'd like to
stuff.
go into executive
Yes,
session right now?
yeah.
Well, we have to vote on that, and then we have to kick people out if that should come to pass.
So we, I assume, need a motion and then a vote, a named vote.
Mhm.
And as I understand your request, you would request that the board go into executive session for the sole purpose of preliminary discussion of potential future union negotiations.
Right.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion? I think we're ready for a vote, but I think we have to vote individually.
Charlie Gray, aye.
Virginia Robbins, aye.
Ron McCucci, aye.
Diane Tiago, I.
Art McGuire, aye. So we are in executive session.
And we would only be convening again to adjourn, is that right?
Yes.